Okay, this is an isometric drawing. It's an exploded drawing, so what that means is, and actually this was one of my favourite answers to a question ever, a kid drew a massive explosion behind it because it said draw an exploded drawing of the boat, which always makes me laugh. But anyway, P&O Ferries gives away a free toy boat to all young children who sail on one of their ferries. The toy boat is shown below. In the space below, draw an exploded sketch. So what that means is all these parts need to float apart. We can see a cross section of it, so we can see that there's a gap, there's a recess for these parts. So we're going to have to show that. Because it's in isometric, we've got a little oval. So the bits where you're getting the mark is drawing these bits floating above it, and the flag as well. So let's start. First of all, what I would advise is you can actually use the drawing above to mark off things accurately because it's in exactly the same place. So I'm just going to draw some loose pencil lines down here. Okay, and I'm drawing them all the way down. Now it might not be always that you are fortunate enough to have the drawing exactly above it, but this one helps. Right, now I can recreate that line there, which is about there. Okay, and it goes all the way up to there because it meets that point, and then it would go all the way across here, and then we could join those up. So I've drawn the kind of hole, if you will, that this will sit in. Now I need to draw this block floating above it. So it doesn't matter how far you start, but I'm going to try and draw a parallel line. You've got to try and make it so these two are parallel. You're imagining that you've got a triangular grid on there. So I'm drawing this part. I'm just going to pencil in these bits. But the thing to look out for is all these should be parallel. Okay, these bits should be parallel. So I'm trying to keep all these lines like you had a triangular grid. Okay, I've blocked that in. So what I'm going to do now is just give it that curve. So it's called crating, where you draw the crate first. Okay, and then you can draw the block in it. So there we go, I've got that bit. That is now exploded. The only thing I've got to do is we've got a little pit, a little recess in here. So I'm just going to draw that in there. So that's that edge, and draw that in. Okay, there we go. So that's exploded. It's like it's come out. Theoretically, in exploded drawings as well, you show little dashed lines to show where parts have come from. You get this sort of thing on Lego instructions. So there should be some familiarity. Right, this one's a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I want to draw a line there because I want this oval bit to be coming out the same amount. And obviously we're creating a circle here. A little bit difficult. So I'm just going to continue that line up there and continue that line up there. Okay, and I want to create the square that it sits in. Let's have a look. Oops. Okay, so the square that it sits in is about there. And remember that technique from before, you can draw a line across there and side on. Try and get your perfect oval. Okay, so there's my hopefully perfect oval, not far off. I'm going to draw, it's parallel in a weird way, look, it's the same shape repeated, that curve. And I'm going to go up. This one's slightly bigger, so I'm just looking at it. You could take a measurement, to be fair. So if we look at the line, it's 20. So I want to make sure that it's 20, which is where I was doing it anyway. We want that perfect oval. No points, you don't get points. Not like that. That's an eye. They should be rounded on the ends. So it's an oval, not an ellipse, is it? Not sure. Okay, so there's that. Again, just penciling it in first. For this, I'm just going to draw a parallel line to show that edge. When I say parallel, obviously it's a curved line, but it's a matching line, so I've got that depth. Okay, so I've drawn those two parts in exploded view. The last thing that I want to do is draw that flag. Again, it's exploded. So again, if you imagine the center line raised up, you could even pop that in there just as a guide, and then it's about there. So let's just draw that. It's going to go over my eye, damn it. Never mind. Okay. Look, let's pen that up because that's pretty much spot on. So an exploded view is where everything comes out. So I'm going to do all my outlines in fine liner. Or thick. You could leave the thin lines in pencil if you want, but I've got two different pens, so I'm going to use them. So wherever a spider can hide behind has to have that, oops, thick edge. Remember, if you make a little mistake, don't worry about it, just leave it, don't try and fix it with pen. Okay, so with these ones here, a spider could peep out and say hello from behind that edge, and it could peep out and say hello from this bottom edge here, so those two would be thick lines. This one here, should use a ruler, whoops, could peep out from there. All the rest are thin lines, so I'm going to switch to a thinner fine liner. You could leave that there like that. If you drew in and just rubbed out some of your lines, you could leave it like that, but I've got my fine liner, so let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. So that's that one. Again, probably advise using a ruler. I feel reasonably comfortable doing it, so I'm kind of skipping that for speed. Okay, everything in. Last thing to do is just mark off these little, I'm just going to do these two actually. There we go, I've got that one a little off, a little out of line, and that one actually, but never mind. There we go, not bad, a little out of line, and let's move it out. Oh, there's one line I forgot there, and I forgot some details from the flag. So let's pop those in. Make sure I've got the right fine liner. Turn this round because it helps. And then go across there. And there we go, there's, oh. Again, should have used a rule, but there you go. So there's your boat and exploded view. There's a question further on here that's an exploded view. So I've drawn a plane and exploded view. Your job is to do the reverse, is to draw it all joined together on this page. So that's a task for later on.